are we? Okay. All right. So typical sections. So we have the typical section generator, which I think is great. It's still good for like at the very beginning of a project to go ahead and develop something of, hey, here's what our typical is. This is what we're looking at. But as we all know, that changes over time a little bit, where you can generate that typical, but then you're going to have information that's going to come in that's going to change everything. So one of the things that we started doing is we started looking at utilizing our cross sections for typicals. So again, we'll go in, we'll cut sections. And the nice thing about sections, of course, is if we have all of our cross sections and as the model updates over time and we have that corridor design file, that container design file that's referenced in there, it's just going to keep updating my cross sections for me. So my cross sections are getting updated, my limits change, all those different elements start to happen. Well, then I can use my cross sections for my typicals, because then as things change, then I don't have to keep regenerating different typicals, re-updating, changing those things out. It's already there. I can just update the dimensioning and I'm done. So that's one of the things that we've been doing. So like in the base file, in here, you'll see, so like this one, I just did a specific street to show what that looks like. So again, utilizing the 3D, the components, bringing those in. And I have what I call it is a cross-section reference. So in the cross-section reference is basically, it's just a drawing model. I have the sheets in here. So the sheets that are already cut, again, the drawing model, it's cut. So we went through the name boundaries, doing all of those different things. We've created those name boundaries. We've updated the information. We put it all into the drawing model, which then generates, into the sheet model and then shows what we have in the sheet model. So you can see through these when I go back to, I'm going to open up my references. So you can see I have my reference of my corridor design file, and then I have a corridor file in here as well. So those files I'm utilizing to do my sections. So in my cross-section references, you're going to see, so like in these, I have different sections that are brought in. So I'm going to turn back on, I think it's in my, no, in my model. Yeah, so in my model, these are all cross sections. So these are being directly referenced from my cross sections. So when I go reference in my cross section, I go and I pick the section that I want. So again, if I open this up, I have a bunch. So this is my cross section sheet. So all those cross sections that we just created, that's what this is. So I can go and I pick a representative typical section. Okay, this is typical. This is what I'm going to pick. This is how I'm going to dimension it. This represents this range. So that's what I did here is pick that range. So I can pick that. I can reference it in, and I'll reference it in by a top view, which you can do the same thing with the border. Instead of just referencing it, you can select from what view you want to attach that to. So I just picked the top view. So I place it in here where I want it. Notice that the live nesting depth is 2. The reason why it's 2 is because it is a cross section. If I had a nested depth of 1, I could do the base file. It's just going to bring in my my line work, and 3D is going to bring in my components. I needed to bring in the section view from those things. So it's going to bring in that section view. So by doing that, I have that section view nested at a level depth of 2. So I bring that in. Then once that's in and I place that, and I can show you which one, if I get the right one here. There we go. So like 50350. So that's my main one. So you see that there is also some other information in here. The hatching we currently have in here is just, we did the hatching in the drawing model itself. Again, as we keep moving forward, and there's a way to do it, it's just a matter of having the workspace set up correctly so that when we display it, it displays right. Those materials can also, they're assigned to your components of your corridor model. So when I display a cross section, I can display a cross section with those materials turned on so that they give me basically the same view of where I get my aggregates, I get my pavement, if it's concrete, if it's HMA, whatever it is, if I have grass, if I have rock mulch, those types of things will show up in that. So I don't have to do the materials separately. Right now, we're doing the materials separately just for visual purposes and to relate back and forth the pay items. So when I bring that in, again, I bring it in through top view. I have it, and you can see I brought it in at a 5:1, and it's just I bring it in at a 5:1 to set up so that it looks correct in my sheet file. So you also see I have little drop downs in here as well. So like the median drop down, well, it changes. Sometimes I don't have a median. Sometimes I go through an intersection. So I want to show that pavement. Sometimes the outside end treatments have sidewalks. Sometimes they don't. So I want to bring that in there. You can see the little window. Well, it's clipped right now. So if I delete that clip, right, it's a total section. But what I can do is I can bring part of a section and put that in there. So I can go ahead and pull that in there. One of the other, so that's really how those references are used from the sections to utilize your cross section. So in essence, if, okay, well, we don't have three, all of a sudden the design changes, we need to save money. So we can't do an extra lane on the outside. We have to go ahead and bring it back. So that extra lane goes away. Okay. Well, my section, since it's associated, again, corridor to corridor design through cross sections. Okay, updated my corridor design. That lane went away. My new section will show up here. My dimensions will still show this. Well, I can manipulate my sections. But one of the good things about it, again, it's one source of truth. I updated my corridor. It told me my sections are out of date. Now I need to update my sections because I have all these dimensionings that don't associate with anything anymore. So it's kind of a check on its own, and it makes me look for those things as I'm going through doing a quality check, a QC on information. This helps me out. This says, hey, something's not matching up. Something's not right. You need to fix this. So that's another reason that we do that. And again, it's an automatic, it's a dynamic where things change and things update. So I can do that. So that's really kind of utilizing quick and dirty cross sections for my sheets. Again, I just turn on and off the grids, the text, the different things like that, and do what I need to here. I can also have an annotation group that matches my cross sections. That we could probably do something that fills this out like that too. Again, less work though on this side once you get those set up. Then you're just manipulating some things versus recreating. So from a typical section standpoint, that's what we do. That's what we're promoting as a best practice, is to really utilize your design work for those things versus just labeling things out. Of course, right, doing a typical section generator, I've just got non-attributed information that just I generated because that was what it was in that space and time. Well, if my model changes and everything else, it doesn't update my typical. It doesn't tell me that it changed. So this is one of those checks that kind of helps that. So with that, Sahar, I think that kind of covers typical section.